I remember the exact second the line was crossed, not because it was loud, because it wasn't. The room went quiet in a way that felt surgical, like someone had cleanly cut the oxygen. The cake candles burned without flicker. Pink frosting sagged under the heat. 18 candles, 18 wishes, one sentence delivered like a verdict. Disappear from our family forever. She didn't smile when she said it. She looked relieved, like she'd finally exhaled after holding something poisonous in her chest for years. Her eyes flicked to her mother. My wife knew. Barely settled. My wife nodded. Just once. Soft, polite, final. Her real dad will take it from here. That was it. No apology, no correction, no awkward laughter, just a quiet endorsement of my erasure. I stood there with a gift bag still in my hand, heavy, thoughtful. Just weeks ago, I'd spent more time choosing it than she'd spent choosing her words. I set the bag down. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I smiled. That part still unsettles me. How calm I was. How something inside me closed so neatly it didn't even hurt. Not then. The house smelled like sugar and burned wax. Balloons scraped the ceiling when the air conditioner kicked on. Someone cleared their throat. Someone else pretended to check their phone. I watched them all learn in real time how easily a man can disappear while still standing in the room. I'd been there 8 years. I'd paid for braces and summer camps. I'd learned the difference between her "I'm fine" and her real silences. I'd sat through recitals and tournaments and parent-teacher conferences where my name wasn't on the form, but my signature paid the bill anyway. I wasn't naive. I knew I wasn't blood, but I thought I was built. Brick by brick, earned. That night taught me the difference. When the party ended, I washed the dishes alone. I always did. My wife went to bed early, exhausted by celebration. My stepdaughter disappeared into her room with friends and laughter trailing behind her like confetti. I dried my hands. I looked at my reflection in the kitchen window. A man in his own house, already gone. That's when the bond died. Not with anger, with clarity. I slept deeply that night. That surprised me. When I woke, there was no confusion left. No debate. No need to confront or plead. They'd made a decision. I respected decisions. I simply decided to be precise. I withdrew quietly. That's the part people never notice until it's too late. Silence is mistaken for weakness. Distance for defeat. I went to work. I smiled. I nodded. I asked how her college applications were going. I kissed my wife on the cheek. I paid the bills on time. I stopped correcting small things. I stopped offering help. I started organizing. The house wasn't sentimental to me anymore. It was an asset bought with my credit, maintained with my money, titled in my name, something I'd insisted on early, back when practicality still passed for love. I met with a realtor during lunch breaks. Quiet offices, muted tones, no drama. We listed it below market. I wanted speed, not sympathy. Then the accounts. Education fund first, the one I'd started when she was 10. Monthly deposits, automatic, faithful. I canceled it with 3 clicks and a confirmation email. The relief was physical, like removing a splinter that had been festering under skin for years. I paid off what I owed. I closed what I owned. I transferred what was mine. I didn't touch their joint account. I didn't steal. I didn't sabotage. I simply stopped giving. That distinction matters to me. The house sold in 12 days. They found out on a Thursday. My wife called while I was in a parking garage. Her voice had a crack in it, the kind reserved for misunderstandings and emergencies. Why is there a "for sale" sign on the house? I let the echo swallow my answer before I spoke. Because it's sold. There was a pause, breathing, calculations. You can't do this without talking to me. I can, I said, and I did. She started crying then. Real tears, not performative. Fear. Finally, she asked where we would. Live. She asked about her daughter's school. She asked if this was about the birthday. I said nothing. Silence is a mirror. People see themselves in it eventually. I moved out that weekend. Just my clothes, my watch, my laptop. Everything else stayed. They thought that was mercy. The calls escalated after that. Confusion turned to bargaining. Bargaining turned to anger. My stepdaughter texted once, just once. You're ruining everything. I didn't reply. The closing date came and went. I signed the papers with steady hands. The buyer wanted it empty. Clean slate. New beginnings. I understood that impulse. The night before possession transferred, I went back alone. The house was hollow. No furniture, no photos, no sound. Footsteps echoed like accusations. I walked room to room, remembering how full it used to feel. How much of that fullness had been me. I didn't trash anything. I didn't leave damage. I didn't spray paint insults or hide dead fish in vents. I left something better. In the center of the dining room table, I placed a manila envelope, heavy, deliberate. Inside it were copies, not originals. Originals were with my attorney. The envelope held everything. The deed showing sole ownership, the cancelled education fund statements, the receipts for tuition deposits I'd withdrawn before deadlines, a ledger of every major expense I'd covered alone, and on top, a single handwritten letter. I wrote it slowly. No anger, no insults. Just truth. You asked me to disappear from your family. I respected your wish. I disappeared from the role you assigned me. Provider without voice. Presence without respect. Your real dad can take it from here. This is what absence actually looks like. I sealed the envelope. I turned off the lights. I locked the door for the last time. They arrived the next morning to an empty house and a full understanding. I wasn't there to see it. I didn't need to be. I imagined it clearly enough. The panic when they realized the timeline, the calls to her biological father, awkward and urgent, the excuses, the anger redirected everywhere but inward. They tried to find me. Of course they did. They wanted explanations, negotiations, restoration. I declined all meetings. Months later, I ran into my stepdaughter at a grocery store. She looked older than 18, not wiser, just tired. She didn't say my name. She didn't apologize. Quietly, she asked, "Did you plan all this?" I met her eyes, calm, unmoved. "No," I said, "you did." She nodded. Then just once, soft, polite, final. I walked away with my groceries and my dignity intact. Revenge doesn't have to scream. Justice doesn't need permission. Sometimes the most devastating thing you can do is leave exactly what was asked for and take everything else with you.